Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing.
Hey, welcome. So this week I had a call with someone. I thought it was an interesting call. The individual is doing well on Etsy. If you looked at their Etsy stats, what they were doing, the views, the purchase, all that stuff, you'd be saying, yeah, this is a great Etsy shop. The problem was the bottom line wasn't as large as you would expect, meaning the take home. And so when I was going through this call, I was like, oh, okay, let's reverse engineer this really quick. Let's look at where stuff is going. And it was funny to me. Funny is not the right word, but it was endearing. That's the right word. It was endearing because the way she was operating was very much how you would operate when you're a small business. When I say, let me rephrase that, a small Etsy shop. When you're a small Etsy shop, you are really grateful for those purchases that come in. You are making sure that each person is feeling that handmade, that special, that's there, and that's great. And the more we can keep that in the brand, the better. It's just very difficult to do at scale. So when you get to a certain spot where you are moving a lot of product, you have to look at what is it that people actually want? What is it that they're buying from me? And how can I, now that I have the data, the resources, some cash coming in, I can kind of invest my time and energy into this. It's more about bringing the experience of buying and giving them that great product than it is about those stuff that is talked about on like other podcasts and YouTubes and make sure you write a hand note and make sure you do this. Like that's all great. It's just difficult to do at scale. And where it can kind of bite you in the butt is when you are scaling and you're stuck in these things that are maybe nitpicking costs at you that you're not aware of because you've just always done it. This usually, and this is where this phone call actually ended up going, it was funny because I went and opened up her ad account, about fell on my chair. She was at like an 8 ROAS. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't see an 8 ROAS very much these days. And so I wanted to make this podcast for anyone who is sitting at that 7, 8, 9, 10 ROAS, that you listen to this. Because if you are sitting at that stage, there's two things that are taking place. Number one is you have a product that people really want. Number two, you have a product that Etsy really likes. And, well, I'm going to throw in the number three. Number three, you're probably undercharging for your product. That's probably why, when we go back to people really like your product, that's probably the reason, is that you are a superior product. You probably have done a good job at presenting your product. You probably have great reviews because of that, because your product is great, because you present it well, and you're not charging enough for it. And so you're getting lots of sales, and Etsy loves people like you. People who undervalue their work, people who undervalue their skill. When you opened your Etsy shop, and as you've grown, you have gotten better at doing what you do. Every other person on this planet is going to charge more for that. Think about when you were 20 working, you probably wouldn't work today for the same money you were making when you were 20. If I said why, I would hope you don't say because my costs have gone up. I would hope that you would say because I have improved. I'm not 20-year-old Jared anymore. I'm older Jared. And older Jared is more experienced than that kid was. You were once an Etsy shop. And what we do is we look at these Etsy shops that are doing well and we say, oh, I need to price around them. I need to be like them. But the truth of it is you might be competing against this woman that I'm talking about, which is she's got a really great product and she's undercharging for what she's doing. And so she looks like the life that you would want. Oh my gosh, I would love to make that kind of money selling what she sells. The problem is she's not taking home nearly as much as you think she is. So what you need to do and how this works, especially if you're sitting at that high ROAS, we need to really aggressively look at how we can increase pricing. But this is what I love and we did this on this phone call, is I said, what are tell me about your products. Walk me through it. So she's like, oh, I spray this stuff on it because I asked her, is this thing weather resistant? It's something that goes outside. She says, yeah, I spray this product on it. So I went through her pictures again. I said, how am I supposed to know that? She was like, oh, well, I don't really talk about it. I just mentioned it's weather resistant. I'm like, okay. That's extra work that you're doing. That's a product that you're purchasing. That's a step that you've added into operations that's doing you no good. Because when someone buys your product and they put it outside, you have their money at that stage. You've won. If they hate it, you still have their money in your bank account. And so what we want to do is we want to encourage people to pay for that service. Why are they buying you instead of your competitors? Oh, because you do this extra step that they don't. And now that's what allows someone that's what allows you to be able to charge for that product. That's how you can increase what you're doing. So she mentioned to me, well, the product she has is seasonal. She says they have these bags that you can store this product in when it's done. They make these things and they're really cheap. And I can buy them at bulk for cheap. And I said, bingo. Because this is a seasonal product, which means it's only going to be out once a year during a specific time or a season, and then they're going to put it away. Maybe at the end of winter, they put it away. At the end of summer, they put it away. Why can't we include this bag and include this spray that makes it weather resistant? Because we already know they love what you have. So what we want them to do is we want them to come to your product and look at your stuff and say, oh my gosh, this is the superior product. Look at this. It comes with this. It's doing this. I don't know if the other people are doing this, but this person explained it to me. I've done this with woodworkers. So a woodworker, if I'm buying a shelf, what do I expect to get? A shelf. This is what's going through my mind though. Oh boy, I hope this shelf is well made. I hope that it fits the aesthetics of my room. I hope that it fits my vibe, and I hope I can install it. I hope that I have that it's an easy thing for me to install, yada, yada, yada. So if we break those questions down, do my photographs tell that story? And one of my favorite things to do is to say, let's provide them installation. Provide the things, the screws that they need to be able to do what they're going to do so that it is one shop, it's done. And then we advertise. Hey, there's a video that we send with this that shows you how it is. It's 45 seconds long, and it'll walk you through how to install this thing. What we're doing is we're turning off the noise of, ooh, I'm a little nervous about getting this shelf. You don't have to be nervous. You can install it in a minute. Turn that part of your brain off. I will help you turn that part of your brain off. And when somebody feels that, that's where you build that trust. So going back to our woman here, she has a 7-8 ROAS to her ad account. She's not taking home a lot of money. Well, she's taking home good money, but it's not what you think it would be. We're going to raise her prices. We're going to increase what she's doing. So what's the first thing we do? I jump in the beginning and I look at what the price range for her product is. Range is the key word, because what we can always do is find someone who looks like us and is cheaper. You can always find it. This is where the little stuff starts to matter. And sorry, I know I don't think my audience is overly into sports, but in sports it works like this a lot. There's teams you can be just better than. So you can go out and you can just play kind of loose style of whatever sport you're playing and you can beat them. And there's some teams you can kind of take your foot off the gas a bit and hang with them, and then when it gets down to the last quarter, last couple minutes, you just go, all right, gentlemen, buckle up. You guys buckle up and you just take the lead and off you go, or maybe right before half or something like that. You just make a time where you go, yeah, we're done playing with our food. Let's do it. And then there's teams where you guys are dead even. And what it comes down to is possessions. It comes down to those after timeouts, executions. It comes down to the last 2 minutes of a quarter or 2 minutes before a half that's going to give you what you need. It's going to come down to these little minute differences. Little tiny mistakes that cost you the game. And what's nice about Etsy, is that it isn't a timed thing with a ref sitting there, the crowd's going crazy, and you have to make the split decision. You have time to play with that decision, but you should know it. You should know what it is that makes me better. And so I don't want you to go out here and raise your prices unless you know why you're raising your prices. So Jared, why do you not charge the same as from 20 as you do at 38? My answer is I'm a better version of that person. I know more, I have more experience, and I can help you through my experience do your marketing or whatever it is. Your Etsy product, as you've grown your Etsy shop, you have gotten better at fulfilling stuff. You've gotten better at optimizing. You've noticed some details at a larger scale that those smaller shops can't of what's better for the customer. That's what you start to sprinkle in. Your checkout process should be, here is what I am turning off the noise of questions that you have, concerns that you have. And that's where that trust will come. And then from there, that's where you can feel comfortable saying, and that's why I'm more. That's why I charge more. I'm not just raising my prices. I've added value to this. And that value could just be that you turn their noise off of concerns. People will pay more for that. It is literally, it's a term that I hate the most. It came very popular during COVID, and then every bad marketer on planet Earth used it. It's called peace of mind. I can't stand that phrase. If I'm ever in a room and someone says, we're sitting at a round table of a creative marketing campaign, and someone says, peace of mind, I say, get out. I don't have that kind of authority. I wish I did. I say it in my head, get out. I'm never going to trust a word that comes out of your mouth. That is just, for me, it's bad marketing. But peace of mind is that turning that noise off of checkout. And that's what makes you so that you can raise your prices. So if you are this, and again, I don't want everyone to just run out there and start raising your prices. Let's walk through the process so that we can kind of hold hands through this. In her scenario, I'm watching it. I'm looking at it. I'm like, hey, you're selling at high volume. You're not making a lot of money. There's check number one of you probably have to charge more. What's the next thing I do? I open up her competition. I open up, just start typing in things into Etsy, different keywords, different stuff, and I'm looking at the price range. Was I seeing things cheaper? I was. Was I seeing things more expensive? I was. And so that gives me, hey, you are sort of the middle pack in a price range. I've done episodes about this. It's a dangerous place to be. The middle pack, because why is someone going to go middle when they could spend less to get a product or more to get the best product? And so who you're targeting, you want to target people who are willing to buy your product and aren't afraid to buy your product and aren't spending their life savings on buying your product. And so if you're selling stickers and stuff like that, don't think to yourself, you need to be the most expensive sticker company on the world. But if you're selling things like what she was selling, I don't want to give her away, but outdoor decor pieces and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong, especially if you are in the top 30% of Etsy when it comes to quality, charging the top 30% of what's on Etsy. So I see the price range. I'm like, hey, we can land you kind of around this area. The next thing I had her do is export her orders. Had her export her orders, and we were looking at what was the average order value of a product. So what are people typically paying? Because she had three variants, a smaller one, a medium one, and a bigger one. And I made the suggestion to her of adding a fourth. Now, Jared, I am very much against Paradox. That's all, folks. I'm a believer in paradox of choice. When you have too many, a big part of my growth is that I take away options because I'm trying to remove friction from people, figure out what people are buying, and put your emphasis towards that. But in her case, this is why I'm doing it, is that we're going to increase her pricing. And that means, because currently Etsy's going to show what? The first price that you have. So if you have three options, Etsy shows, let's just say it's $80. Etsy's going to show $80 with a plus sign next to it to show that it scales up. If I add four options, I can add a smaller version. And based on the data that we're looking at, people are buying the middle one. So are people going to buy a smaller one? No. They want the middle one. That's what everyone's buying. But if we add a smaller version up front, it lowers the price that people see. Does this make sense? And then from there, we can increase the price, and it's not as offensive to the search. Because let's just break it into easy numbers. Let's say her smallest product was $100. Okay? Her medium product was $150, her big product was $200. So what we are going to do is she's going to create a $50 version. Not really, but just hear me out so this makes sense. A $50 version. And then we're going to increase her smallest one to $130, increase her middle one to $180, and increase her bigger one to $230 or whatever. So now, when someone sees her on search, they're going to see that $80, or was it $50? $50 one first, and now move up into the thing. Now, if, let's just say worst case scenario, people are like, ooh, the middle one I've kind of priced out of the middle one. All right, they're going to buy the smaller one at a higher price than what she was selling before. And that is pure profit for her. Does this make sense? That's why we're doing that. That's why we're hitting that angle, is that we're saying, look, if we don't want to lose clicks, but here's a good little hack for us. Because she had that variance of what she was doing, we knew people were locked in based on data on the middle one. That's the one that people want. But we don't want all of a sudden to have that price go up on the front search. So we create a variant that's lower, and then people click, come in, buy the middle one. That's the hope. So if she does this, plus starts to add in some of those things that she's doing to make herself better, then what happens is we're attracting that person. They're coming in, and then they're being sold, having the noise, the concern noise taken away from them. They're seeing the benefits. They're seeing, oh, I can store this, and they've thought about that. Oh, this is going to be outside the whole time, and they've thought about that. Have other people? I don't think so. So now when you go, well, it is a little bit more expensive than the others, but it makes sense why it's more expensive. So do I want my noise turned off by spending an extra $30, or do I want to take a risk and not spend that extra $30? And that's who you're going to attract. You're going to attract the person who says, I don't want to take the risk. I'm in. And that's a great way to grow. Once this is all said and done, we're promoting, we varianted it, we increased our pricing. Another great technique, something that you can do, is the old weekend sale. Now, there's Etsy shops that are on all the time, and they run sales all the time, and they claim, like, this works for me. Great. I'm not going to... Etsy doesn't love that. They've said it in their handbook. They don't love that. But I do like a good weekend sale. But a weekend sale usually means you're going to sell a bit more for, and probably make around the same amount of profit you were making before, because you're offering 15% off now, and so a couple extra orders ends up, you get what I'm saying. But when you increase your pricing, this, all you're doing is selling for what you used to be happy selling at full price. When you increase your pricing, you have more room for sales. This is a big help, because what you can do is someone can come and see you on a Tuesday and look at your stuff and say, oh, I do really like this one. But it's a little bit more expensive. So maybe I'm going to shop around a bit. And then on Friday, they get a notification that says, hey, it's 15% off. And they go, ooh, I did really like that one. And now I have a reason to buy it. This is what I love about that technique. So if you're following this and you're saying, yeah, I kind of fall under this person sounds like my story, here's a good little technique for you. Tell them why. Sell them on what it is that they're getting. Increase the pricing, maybe create a variant that's a little bit lower, so that as long as your data tells you that people aren't buying the cheapest one, that's what you don't want. So I should have made that clear. If you run your data and you're like, okay, I have 3 options and 70% of people buy the smallest one. By creating a smaller one, you're just going to have people buying the smaller one. But if 70% of people are buying the medium one, then creating a smaller one, all that does is price anchor you better and allow you in the search to be able to be a cheaper price up front. Okay. Then once you do all of that, you could be a little bit more aggressive with your sales. So weekend sales, I love them. Hit that up. And then you can start spending a little bit more in your ad account, because now you've got some budget to work with. You've got some money that you can invest in this. And that's where you can then start to see some growth. So, okay, hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully this was something that you liked. Shout out to myself, Jared, because I have my growth program coming out in May. So I launched something Black Friday. We started in January. I had 30 something people in that group. It was great. I got some feedback. I made some tweaks, made some changes to make it even better. And now I'm relaunching again in May. So if you are interested in joining this group, it is there are live calls that are associated with this. You can get coaching in it. There's modules there. There's groups that are there. This is a cool thing, and it's an affordable thing. So fill it out, the little link I have in my description, and let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, see ya, bye.